Come on in, though. Peter Morici, tenured business professor at the University of Maryland. I see green shoots here. I see the economy is beginning an expansion, and I call it the Trump expansion. You going to say I'm wrong?
Oh, I can't say that. I mean, clearly there's a new era of optimism in the country. The animal spirits have been unleashed, as Jamie Dimon says, and so that's a good thing. But now the Republicans have to deliver on promises for this to continue. You can only get so many jobs by making deals with the top 100 companies. You've got to start to get taxes reformed and get health care reformed and so forth. So they need some wins on the Hill. But you can tell they're on the run by the way the liberals are behaving. The veracity of their criticism, how loudly they speak. You know, when things are really going badly for a liberal president or good for a conservative Republican, I can tell. I start getting heat at the university for what I say. Likewise, other conservatives do. This is when you start getting heat from liberal outlets.
So you can
feel it.
So you can tell that the growth is there because of the opposition to you as a conservative. Hold on for a second,
Peter. All of us. To all of us.
Yeah, I understand that. I got it. Earlier today, we had President Trump's top economic guy, economic advisor, Gary Cohn. He was on the show. He promised economic growth. Roll tape.
We could absolutely get 3% growth in the third and fourth quarter of this year. If you look at the cyclicality of the U.S. economy, we've sort of been having that in recent years. And I think what we're doing here in the White House and what we're going to do with our tax plan and what we're doing with hiring and what we're doing with corporations and getting them to move jobs back to America, I think it'll be easy to get to 3% growth in the third and fourth quarter this year.
Well, you can understand the president's top economic advisor saying, yes, we're going to get that growth that we promised. Yes, we can. Do you back him up? You're not his economic advisor. Do you think he's right?
Well, he's a great salesman, and that's what Gary's all about. But he's got to change the macroeconomic environment to get that kind of growth. We have to have substantial regulatory reform and lower corporate taxes. You know, reforming Obamacare is only going to go so far. It's going to reduce taxes for all of us somewhat. But we need to get the disincentives out of the corporate tax structure, and his cabinet's in a great spot now. As they go out into the agencies, they can start to unwind these regulations. Unlike, you know, taxes where it's one big bill going through Congress on one big day, it's really trench warfare, hand-to-hand combat, clearing the terrorists out of the city. Basically, all those people that don't believe in free enterprise, capitalism, and Americanism that populate the federal bureaucracies, hands and bayonets, time to go, guys. I wish you could send a few of them to the university for me.
Hold on a second. There's more for you. Hold on a second. J.P. Morgan's chief, Jamie Dimon, he says President Trump has unleashed animal spirits. At the same time, I noticed that the Dow Industrials have just turned negative. We were up 100 because of growth in the economy and the solid jobs report. Now we've turned negative. Could it be that this growth in the economy, which we all see, means 4 rate increases this year? That's what's hurting the market. Is that what's going on?
Well, that is a possibility. One of the problems that we have is we have a Democratic Federal Reserve Board, just like we got lots of Democrats running around the Defense Department giving our new Defense Secretary fits. And as a consequence, you know, they're not believers. They look at Trump and they go, heresy, heresy. It's, you know, it's as if the devil has walked into the temple. And so, you know, they're inclined to say, well, this guy's going to cause all kinds of inflation. You know, guess what? You know, we've had the Fed pumping money out like, well, basically like tissue paper in a bathroom, and yet we haven't had inflation. There's not a direct relationship on the upside, so there's not going to be a direct relationship on the downside. What matters much more than anything else with regard to inflation these days is the price of oil. But they're panicking over there, so I think we could get 4. I think it's imprudent. 3 would be plenty.
My opinion is this. I think we will get some kind of reform of Obamacare. Probably not what the conservatives want, but it'll be, I think we'll get reform. I also think we will get some tax cuts for individuals and businesses. I don't know about the border tax, but I think both those 2 issues will be addressed and will be done this year. Yes, we will do it. You agree?
I think that we're going to get Obamacare reform and the corporate tax reform. I am skeptical about getting personal income tax reform done this year if they decide to do this sequentially. They would have to do corporate tax reform and personal tax reform together. I think they should be done that way. I've even written articles about how to do it. I basically want to take Brady's program and apply it to personal income tax as well. But unfortunately, that starts to look like a value-added tax, which is what Brady's tax is, really. But the thing is, that word just puts up hives on the backs of conservative columnists and anchors like some I know right now, and congressmen, especially Mr. Ryan. But it really isn't a bad thing if you take the mighty spike and drive it through the heart on a full moon of that terrible contraption called the income tax and the IRS. Remember, we could shut down the IRS. Think about liberating Americans. Not since the tea went into Boston Harbor would there be such an event.
Thank
no
goodness.
offense, Englishman. I know you're an American now.
Thank goodness you have tenure at your at your university, because without tenure, son, you don't have a job. Peter Morici, thank you for joining us, sir. Always appreciated.